Good morning. I'm former Secretary Edwin Lacierda from Pinoy's Administration.
Nimbang nga bigat tayo amin apo, masanto siya kabuasan din siya katayin amin. Magandang morning, Nani Agsalud Braganza po from President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo's administration.
And we are the Spokes. From the Palace Halls, then, to our group chats now,
We'll be giving you conversations that will make you think and assess.
so that you could come up with your own personal opinion. For today's headliner, in Noted by the Spokes, the House Committee on Justice has consolidated the 2 impeachment complaints filed against President Bongbong Marcos. Gumalaw na.
Gumalaw na. Mabuti rin guest natin kahapon si Justice Ascuna. Mas naiintindihan, hindi lang natin, kundi ng taong bayan.
Parang daming law students na nood kahapon.
Ang daming law students.
Parang feeling ko.
Alam mo kung balik sa amin daw ako, papasa siya eh.
Ang kapal mo.
Pero ikaw hindi.
Siya pa sasabihin mo, papasa.
So anyway, standard procedure naman yung pag-combine ng mga
Yes.
impeachment cases. And hopefully they can come up with one
Nung
impeachment.
panahon nyo, isang impeachment complaint lang.
Isa lang kasi that was the first.
The first
time.
impeachment complaint.
Yes. The first ever impeachment complaint, if I'm not mistaken.
No, for a president.
For a president.
Kasi
yes.
si Desierto, naalala ko, panahon ni Ramos, may impeachment siya eh.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
So, kaya sabi ko nga at that time, we were with the minority. Ang maganda rito, umabot sa Committee on Justice. So, in other words, even under the old rules ng impeachment, pasado na to.
Oh, so, pero ano lang to, no, di ba? Parang sufficiency informed pa lang.
Inform. So, yung substance, sa tingin ko yun ang bakbakan.
Pag-aaralan pa.
Pag-aaralan pa nila. So, how long will that take? I don't know.
Pero nani, politiko ka eh. At ako
Public
hindi.
servant.
Naksa.
You're
Public politiko, sige.
Okay, you're a
Hindi,
public
pero-
liar.
Hindi, pero...
You're a lawyer, out of respect, ha?
Ganitong proseso na to, sa tingin mo ba, I mean, counting the numbers, madidesis ba to o tutuloy?
I-context lang natin.
Oh, sige.
The impeachment is a legal process within the bounds of the Constitution.
Legal process with political characteristics.
Yes, with political characteristics. So at the end of the day, judges will not decide. Di ba? Instead, politicians will
Yes.
decide. So may kulay yon. Now, alam naman natin, hati yung Kongreso o yung politika between the majority and the
Correct.
minority. So, ito, we expect the majority to defend. Di ba? And siyempre, ang tanong dito, ano yung magagawa ng minority to prove their point, especially substance? Kaya ang tanong ko po, sa level na to, pag hiningi ng minority o ng nag-file ng impeachment against BBM, you should allow Saldico to testify.
Ay, hindi ko... hindi, wala na yata yun eh.
Ano,
ang nangyari kasi sa itong bagong decision, ba yung original
wala na yung due
decision,
process.
Yung due process, meron pa rin.
Meron pa.
Pero hindi na parang magmi-mini trial. Yan yung original decision ni Marvick.
okay.
Eh. Itong motion for reconsideration, parang verifying lang yung complaint.
So, in other words, pag itong impeachment na to pinatay sa lower house at hindi umangat sa Senate, there will be no trial.
Correct, correct.
So, in other words, ang biktima rito, yung katotohanan na gustong malaman ng taong bayan.
Pero standard naman yan, di ba? Kasi numbers nga ito eh.
It is.
Long
but-
and short, long and short.
It is, but you know, it is also our duty as public servants to be part of knowing the truth. So, wag nating harangin. Di ba?
I think if you want this to really get, because politicians act also, apart from their mga utos ng nasa taas, yung public pressure din eh, di ba? So
Yes.
dapat mag-ingay rin sila. Tulad ng ingay ginawa natin sa flood control, if there's enough pressure brought to bear, baka mag-iba ng decision. Pero,
Totoo rin.
pero long and short.
Even during the time of yung impeachment po kay Pangulong Estrada, it was a combination of legal tactics at saka extra-legal tactics.
Hindi, at saka yung
Parliament of the
yung
States.
kay Erap kasi sobra talagang lumabas si Chavit Singson. Bago nag-impeachment, kalat na yung balita talagang...
Pero sa akin kasi, sa Pilipinas, 5-5 impeachment eh. And then, honestly,
Ano ibig sabihin nun?
5-5 means it's so frequent that the idea of a noble, di ba, part of the Constitution to punish or our leaders or yung mga elected officials na impeachable, eh, nagiging ordinaryo na lang. At ang nakakalungkot, in-impeach mo, kinunvict mo, in-impeach mo, tapos pagdating sa kaso, absuelto.
Pero di ba pa ito, di ba, kinonsolidate nila, di ba?
Yes.
Yung isang complaint, yung una, parang impeachment, di ba? Nasabi mo na yun. Impeachment complaint yung una, kay De Jesus.
Well, that's the impression.
Correct,
Kasi nga, to go around the rule na isa lang ang impeachment sa isang taon, may nagpa-file ng impeach me. Di ba? So ito okay to. Okay to. At least at this point.
At least yung mga kabayan complaint, medyo mas substantive yun. I mean, in terms of allegations, hindi siya pang impeach me complaint.
Sorry, I haven't read it. I haven't read it.
You read the news. You don't have to read it. Just
No,
read the news.
pero yung substance kasi na mas importante sa akin,
Yes.
not being a lawyer, and you being a lawyer, just reading the news is enough. ayaw ko maging bobo rito. Nakakaya naman,
long and short,
ko.
Nani, long and short. Yes or no? Madidismiss o hindi?
No, look, this is now real politics.
Yes, I'm asking you
No,
yes or
translation, gantihan.
Oh.
Nang dating magkakampi, ngayon magkalaban.
Therefore,
So ang sinasabi ko lang is, if numbers will be followed, di ba? Delikado to. Posibleng patulugin, madismiss ito.
okay.
Yun lang. But, you'll never know. Kasi kami dati, minority kami in Congress, naiakyat namin sa Senado. So, bilog ang bola, kumbaga.
Fearless forecast yan ni Justice Nani Braganza. And now,
Attorney Liar, Edwin Lacierda.
and for our next headliner, noted by the spokes, the camp of Vice President Sara Duterte has dismissed newly filed impeachment complaints. So, syempre, binabaliwala niya yung mga understandable.
Again, from a bigger context, this is now real politics. Sinabi na natin dito, we expect this impeachment to be filed, and we also expect that an impeachment case will be filed against the former my apologies, the president. Real politics. Translation, gantihan. So I hope the truth will not suffer.
Pero allegations niya, pareho lang eh. Misuse of confidential funds, betrayal of public trust. Ang nadagdagan lang, I think, is yung kay Madriaga. If I'm not mistaken.
Sino uli si Madriaga?
Si Madriaga yung sinasabing may alam. So, nakapreso ngayon. Nagsalita siya, sabi niya na may kinausap siya.
Gatdula yung security?
Hindi,
Madriaga. Okay.
Madriaga.
Sorry. Sa dami ho kasi ng testigo, sa dami ng testigo nung umpisa at testigo hindi mo na makita, nakakalimutan ko na yung mga pangalan.
Baka,
di ba?
Baka kailangan natin ho ng doktor, baka may dementia na po ang ating co-host dito. As per Justice Ascona, sabi niya, mas mahirapan.
Alam mo, ayaw ko sumagot kasi ayaw ko maging kaaway ang misis nito at mga anak nito.
Matagal mo na ako inaaway.
Hindi ah.
Malambing na pag-away. But anyway,
okay.
Sabi na
Kanta ka nga ulit. Okay.
Bakit ngayon ka lang?
Akin yun eh. Basta
anyway,
tayo'y magkasama. Okay tayo.
Tayo, at least tayo, unity team talaga tayo. No? Hindi tayo
Boss, malas yung pangalan din. Mag-isip ka ng iba. Di ba?
But anyway, sabi ni Justice Ascona, because of the recent decisions, mas naging mahirap ang impeachment process. But titingnan natin.
Well, ako naman, a decision has been made by the Supreme Court. Respetuhin na lang natin. Now, dito natin matitest eh. Sa impeachment cases na to, sa presidente, sa vice-presidente, kasi kung umangat ito sa Senado parehas theoretically, then okay lang.
Exciting yun.
Exciting lang, di ba? Pero again, sabi din natin kahapon.
By the way, pag umangat sa Senado yan, ang kaso ni Presidente Bongbong Marcos, ang judge, si Chief Justice. Si Vice President naman, si SP Soto.
Kaya bakbakan ngayon sa Senate presidency, that's the net effect.
Oh, anyway, nandun na tayo. For our last headliner today, noted by the spokes, Senate Minority Leader Alan Peter Cayetano has disclosed that the minority bloc does not have the required 13 votes needed to change the current leadership in the Senate. Kasi wala si Senator Bato de la Rosa.
Ito kasi, this can happen anytime naman.
Yes,
Hindi naman to nakaschedule na, bukas election tayo. So, ang akin dito kasi, kaya pinag-aawayan o lumalabas tong issue to because of who will head the impeachment trial kapag si VP Sara. They are known to be loyal to or allies of President Sara. So, it can happen even before the actual hearing or may happen after the hearing at magbago ang leadership ng Senate.
You need 13 votes, pero may kaso si Jinggoy, may kaso si Joel, may kaso si Senator Bato, wala, nagtatago lang, wala pang warrant of arrest. So,
ito rin yung sinabi natin dito, bakit inuuna nyo yung mga kakampi ni Sara? In the same manner na yung mga kakampi ng administrasyon naman, na yung pangalan lumabas na, di ba, either in the Senate or in the House, wala pa lumalabas na kaso. Yun lang. So again, this is politics.
Hindi, pero kaalyado nila dati si Cheese eh.
But
Ay, si Cheese pala, wala pa palang kaso pala.
Just this, look, ang sabi ng taong bayan, and we saw the votes, hindi magiging Senate President si Cheese without the support of the
Administration.
allies. Because the bulk of the number came from there. Eh.
Yeah.
Di ba? Now, if nanalo siyang senador, di ba? Ay, nanalo
Senate
siyang
President.
Senate President with the support of the administration, ang tanong, bakit na nilagay yung mga allies ni VP Sara sa mga important committee? So, yun lang naman. Again, it's a numbers game.
Si Senator Lauren Legarda, inaawitan niya nila Alan. Ang pag-akit sa kanya, you'll be the first female Senate
Alam mo,
President.
itong si Alan, makukuha niya kung kasing galing niya tayo kumanta.
Oo, tama yun.
And then, again, speculations. Inaawitan nila dahil yung anak ni Senator Legarda, di ba, is being investigated. So, probably they thought na vulnerable.
Hindi lang siya, si Mark Villar din, kinasuhan yung buong pamilya ng SEC.
Well, the same, they were also mentioned as part of, kaya sabi nga po natin, that the change of leadership may happen before, assuming yung impeachment o makata, before the trial or after the trial.
And si Senator Pia Cayetano, although majority siya, medyo parang questionable ang kanyang allegiance dahil hindi siya pumirma doon sa resolution against the Chinese eh.
Well, hindi lang naman siguro yun yung dahilan. The issue of China and the Philippines, medyo, hindi naman hati yung taong bayan. May kanya-kanyang opinion kasi.
Hindi siya hati, definitely. Anyway, these are the headlines noted by the spokes
by the way,
today.
may respect to Senator Cayetano. She's one of the senators kasi na malinaw yung paniniwala niya when it comes to legislation. Di ba?
Are you saying that iba hindi maliwanag?
No, sabi ko malinaw. Hindi ko sinasabing yung iba hindi. Marami din naman dyan, kaibigan ko isa dyan eh. Di ba? O malapit kong kaibigan, actually, kumpare ko pa nga eh. Pero mas malinaw to.
Okay, so we'll have former National Security Advisor Professor Clarita Carlos when the spokes return after this short break. And the spokes is back. Global security dynamics are shifting fast. Should the Philippines double down on its security alliances, or is it time to reset and rethink its China policy? To help us break this down, we are joined by former National Security Advisor and Geopolitical Analyst, and according to my partner here, our bagets host today, Professor Clarita Carlos.
Ayun talaga.
Ma'am, welcome po sa The Spokes, Ate Clarita. Ako po yung kaibigan ni Professor Pancho Lara. Naging guest rin po namin dito.
Okay.
Sip-sip
Yeah.
talaga
A very
itong
good
tao.
friend and
Hindi
colleague.
namin kayo makuha, kaya pinagtiisan ho namin siya.
Lagot ka kay Pancho.
Ninong ko po, ma'am.
Yeah.
Can I ask the first question lang?
Go ahead.
And then kasi I'm intrigued kay ma'am kasi sila po yung pinakaunang babae na naging presidente at civilian at that ng National Defense College. So traditionally kasi di ba? It's not only male-dominated, but normally military officers had that.
Yes.
So why were you chosen?
Because she's bright. Is that an obvious answer?
No, because
Sip-sip. Umayos ka.
This was in 1998. For a good while, I was a consultant of Orly Mercado on foreign relations.
Orly Mercado.
So when he became Secretary of National Defense, guy took him actually so many months to cajole me to accept it because I'm a bobo person in terms of administration. I've always been a professor. So ano naman kinalaman ko administering a college? So it took a while before I caught on to the idea that, yeah, sige, tulungan kita. Yeah. That's how it
If you're
started.
saying you're bobo, ma'am, ako bobo rin ako eh. Ibig sabihin matalino tayong dalawa.
No, I mean-
we're just being humble.
No, because the only thing I know
true.
would be to teach and to do
teach,
research. And not to administer a college.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
alam ko naman yung limits ng capabilities ko.
But that was a breakthrough in terms of gender and recognition of your skill and talent and knowledge to head a department. Sabi ko nga po, as a male-dominated
Yeah.
agency of the Department of Defense. So
Yeah.
again, ma'am, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. But I think we should make it clear that as a social scientist, gender, as well as being civilian or military, they're not predictor variables. That is why yung president at ng National Defense College, nagpupusta-pustahan yung mga tao na, ayan si Carlos, siguro 1 week lang yan. Maano na yan. Sobrang demolition job eh.
But you were also the first national security advisor ata na babae, if I'm not mistaken, because that is also male-dominated.
I believe so. And it doesn't matter, So I said, gender and whoever I am, I'm a scholar, whatever my gender might be.
Okay.
Diba?
That's true. Misogyny should have no place.
Yeah. And being a national security advisor, alam niyo, this is one of the few cabinet offices, di ba, agencies, na hindi sikat eh. You don't hear it like tourism, etc. But the role is very important. So what actually is the mandate of the National Security Council?
Well, National Security Council really is, if you look at the organization of the president, it's that. This is the NSC. And I'm the head of that, and nakadapa ako sa 7 task forces. One of them is the NTF-LCAC. Theoretically, I'm not supposed to do operational work because I'm a policy person. National Security Advisor ka. For reasons not known to me, historically, dumapa yung NSA sa 7, anti-terrorism, NTF-LCAC, West Philippine Sea.
Yep.
And so, I was telling the president, para nakatira na ako sa airport because I had to go to the insurgent areas and find out what's happening here. Na-clear na ng military. Pagkatapos, yung mga civilian agencies ay walang ginagawa, when they should be coming in, i-address mo kung ano yung ugat ng insurgency, dahil babalik na naman yan. Di ba, mamumundok na naman yan.
But you're also considered an expert when it comes to the West Philippine Sea.
I don't know. I hesitate to use the word expert. And let's say I'm teaching a course on geopolitics. In fact, kahapon may klase ako on geopolitics. And that's one of the rival claims that we discuss.
We are in the first island chain group, and that poses a threat to us in the sense that when war breaks out, they'll try. Is there a fear, or is there a possibility that not just China, not just invading Taiwan, but also looking at Philippines as an area where they should strike?
Well, less likely. The only reason why the dynamics had changed is that when the president shifted from considering China as a neighbor, a partner, is when the continued bellicose and aggressive actions in the South China Sea became so much, and the president, as the chief architect of our foreign policy, moved towards the orbit of the United States. I saw that coming in because I left 6.5 months into my being NSA.
Right.
And I guess we've got to give it to the president to make the final determination on which move to take.
Yes.
But I remember his father, the first Marcos, had made a deliberate effort to move us away and not make us the tail of the American kite. And for a while, I thought Bongbong would do the same. And,
Yun po yung sinasabing Russian card dati. During the time of the late President Marcos, to leverage the Philippines diplomatically.
Yeah, I guess it was, among all the presidents, and we've had 17 thus far,
Yes,
from Aguinaldo to the present. It was only President Marcos who has, not only because I wrote about him in my PhD dissertation, who really has a good and deep and broad understanding of foreign policy.
Foreign policy.
The rest are just so, I don't like to use that word. We will be banned here. Let us say,
Sanay ho kami.
parang mababa sa listahan ng kanilang...
We already had one co-host being hounded by the NBI, so that's something.
Now I guess.
I don't want to be part of that list.
Okay.
Yeah. So, kasi the President of the Republic is the chief architect of foreign policy. NSA nandiyan lang siya sa side, no? And usually yung NSA is a scholar on international relations.
Yes.
Because dapat siya meron siyang gagap talaga ng malalim at malawak ng pag-intindi ng anong nangyayari sa buong mundo na that will intrude into our concerns as a republic.
Historically kasi, China is not as powerful as it is today.
Of course.
So, during the time of mga presidents before EDSA, yung China hindi masyadong pinapansin pero biglang bumangon at malakas na. Kaya nga dati ang geopolitical situation is between the US and Russia at naipit tayo. Now, because we had the US bases here, question lang mo, our geography, our closeness to China, is that a factor, or should that be considered as a factor in our foreign policy pronouncements and practices?
Geography is always a major factor. It's not just a fact, it's a major factor. You know, when you look at my syllabus on geopolitics, you'll find out that the contest between India, Pakistan, and Kashmir, you know, Cyprus, Chechnya, etc., it's all because of the accident of geography. They were just located where they are located right now.
So, in case of war between Taiwan and China, our geography, ang sinasabi lang sa whether we like it or else, will be a part probably of that. We will be a part of that conflict between
We should
the two
not be. We stupid people, you know. We already supported one China policy.
Yes.
Why is it that our articulations about that and our actions are not in consonance with what we are? I mean, how many times i-content analyze mo yung speeches ni President Bongbong? Paulit-ulit niya sinasabi. One China means Taiwan is a province. Probinsya niya yun. Di ba? Ikaw ba mag-supply ka, Edwin, ng armas sa California or whatever, any one of the 50 states? Magagalit Amerika, di ba? Magagalit si Trump. Yan ang ginagawa niya ngayon sa Taiwan.
But the US is not friendly with China, and so are other Western powers.
They are naman. Not on. They are friendly.
Yes. Diplomatically, may crack because of the tariffs,
Yeah,
the
but
US economy.
when you look at international politics, you have to, I don't know the term, dichotomize between the economic and trade relations and the political. That's why I always introduce the concept of high politics and low politics. We can never agree on who owns the South China Sea, okay? Because nobody owns anything. Nobody owns the airspace, the land, or the waters. They cannot be divided, okay? And so what we need to do is set aside the high politics of territory and sovereignty and work on the low politics area. Yun, people to people, academic exchanges, marine scientists, cooperating with marine scientists. Alam mo, lingid sa kaalaman ng marami. Kasi ang kapitbahay ko sa UP, si marine scientist Mike Fortes, for the past 30, 40 years, they have been cooperating with the marine scientists of China. And they're not talking territory. They're talking about the sea plants. They're talking about the ocean. They're talking about one ecology.
Yes.
Because there's only one ecology. Sana may map tayo rito, no?
Yes.
Kasi pag makita mo dyan sa map, the coastal areas is, dyan pinapanganak yung mga fish.
Yes.
Saan siya lumalaki? Siyempre susundan niya yung ambient, Nandun siya lumalaki, Edwin, dun sa part ng China, or what China claims. Paano naman yung isda natin? Miski isa hindi nagbibigay, di ba?
I agree with you. Kaya lang that used to be my district when I was congressman.
Ay, yeah?
Yes. Infanta, Dasul,
Yeah.
Ang problema ko kasi, because powerful yung China, militarily speaking, they deny our fisher folks of their regular livelihood. Hirap na nga ho yung buhay sa Pilipinas, especially the fisher folks. Haharasin mo pa, haharangin mo pa. So, in other words, I think the UNCLOS decision should have made that clear na yung West Philippine Sea, yung West Philippine Sea, yung part lang naman ng Pilipinas yun eh. It's not the entire South China. Should also be respected in that sense.
Yeah. But well, because I'm following this story very closely.
Yes po.
About 2 weeks ago, China came out with a rather radical stance in regard to the UNCLOS. For the first time, they said that there are overlapping claims between the Philippines and China. They have never said that.
Before.
Which means, because we're both signatory to UNCLOS, US, by the way, is
But
not signatory.
there's no such thing as an overlapping claim because their claim is the 9-dash line.
Yes.
And there are no longitudes, there are no grid specific. So
And dinrawing lang niya ng somebody in the
it was
40s, no? During the time of Mao.
Grade 1 ang doon.
during the time of it was during the time of Chiang Kai-shek because it was the people's
Yeah.
the nationalist
Yeah,
China that
the
drew
Civil
up.
War,
In fact,
no?
it was an 11-dash line. It made 9. Now it's a 10-dash line.
Nagugulaan na nga ako, 9 ba yan? O 10 or 11?
That's why I disagree with the statement that there are overlapping claims because it's very clear under the UNCLOS, in which China is a signatory, why they adhere to UNCLOS, but they're also espousing their 9-dash line, which has no basis in fact or in geography.
Well, the reason, Edwin, that I saw that as a breakthrough is that for a long time, they never made that kind of articulation.
Yes.
Now, why is that important to us? Because there are dispute settling mechanism under the UNCLOS, which means you can invoke that. Diba, you're both lawyers and so. I'm not a lawyer.
He's a liar, I'm a lawyer.
I just tease Nani Braganza po. Inunahan ako.
Yeah, kasi I'm a political scientist kasi so, but still I want to understand the legal, ramifications of all this. And yeah, I think a short anecdote will tell you how if we keep on pounding on China said that this is what it should be. In 2001, we were in Tokyo for a roundtable discussion. It's an international grouping, and I was the first one to present a paper. And nag-uumpisa na ako mag-present, taas ng kamay yung isang nandyan sa katapat ko. Sabi ko, ano ba ito? Taas ng kamay. Ayaw niya akong pasalitain. Kasi sabi niya, we cannot internationalize. Kasi yung paper ko tungkol sa South China Sea. Okay. Siyempre, yung Japanese, ayaw niya mag-rule as chair. Tinanong niya ako, sabi ko, I'm a political scientist, no? And I wrote this paper with a fancy title of being president of the National Defense College. So given that, pinabasa niya sa akin yun. Nag-present ako. The thesis of the paper is exactly yan. Go for the low politics area, functional cooperation, and set aside the territorial and sovereignty issues. You know what happened then?
Yes po. Yes, may apologies.
After that, let me finish the short anecdote.
Yes
No?
po.
Umikot yung tao na yun. PLA general pala siya.
Oh.
Kinuha niya yung kamay ko. Bigay ko sa akin kamay mo. Ganyan sabi niya. Wow,
Ma'am, mabuti wala kayong sing-sing, baka makuha ko pa.
Sabi niya, President Carlos, sabi niya gano'n. Gusto ko yung he said that, of course, in English. Gusto ko yung sinabi mo, sabi ko, kanina nga ayaw mo akong pagsalitain. What's my point, Edwin? Ang point ko, just keep on pounding to them that they cannot continue to do their aggressive and bellicose actions in the South China Sea. And it will hit them. We thought we should have a hegemon who is now benevolent. At kapareho ka pala ng Amerika, nasanggano ka rin. So, dalawa na kayong sanggano.
Dr.
Diba?
Dr. Carlos, you seem to have an optimistic view that China will not invade us, considering that
less likely.
The Philippines is already providing logistical support. We have defensive ammunitions here.
Yeah.
We've got the bases are here. We have visiting forces agreement. We have a mutual defense treaty, and we are entering into so many visiting forces agreement with
other
India,
countries.
with Australia. So how can you, as China, not look at us, the Philippines, as something that we should really consider when we hit Taiwan? Because that's also the tabletop scenario of all the defense analysts.
Yeah. Kasi importante yung magsaliksik tayo ng kasaysayan. 1981, I had a research fellowship in Hong Kong and the Chinese University there. And I saw how the relationship between the U.S. and the Philippines were really how the relationship between U.S. and China and us as another political actor were really based on the relationship between the two. So, inano ko may graph yun yung ginawa kong article doon. I saw that article. In other words, parang hindi tayo major player.
Right.
If this were a chessboard, ang major player, parang I don't know kung sino tayo doon, ang major players talaga yun. And it continues to this day. The reason why, Edwin, I'm guardedly optimistic that it is less likely, nobody wants to go to war.
Right.
Pati si Trump.
But there's already a timetable for Xi Jinping to
2027.
2027. But I think it's going to be delayed because of the purging of the generals.
In China.
Yes, but there are a lot of, kasi I'm sure you also have access to alternative narratives there, no? But I think more likely than not, China would like to have us in its corner.
Correct.
Yes.
And as NSA and even beyond, and up to this time, I've had very deep continuing conversations with Wang Xilian, the former ambassador, and now Ambassador Guan. And I know Guan is a little bit more, more assertive than Wang Xilian. But I think his heart is in the right place. In fact, nung unang meeting namin, nung Chinese Embassy function, kailan ba yun? 2 weeks ago, I told him really that, these things that are happening, kasi nagsabi siya tungkol kay Tariela, sabi ko, but also these are reactions to things which are happening on the ground. And of course, I didn't elaborate. That was not the right venue for me to raise it. But I'll raise it nevertheless.
Ma'am, question lang. Actually, it's just a question. Una-una, yung UNCLOS decision is not only good for the Philippines. It's good for all countries.
You mean 2016? The
Na
arbitral?
merong coastal, yes po, may coastline. Ang problema ko po doon kasi walang enforcement mechanism. You can always talk and talk and talk. Walang enforcement mechanism. Alam naman po natin na law does not stop ships. Power does.
Correct.
So in other words,
It's called realpolitik.
realpolitik. Hindi ko niya naintindihan nung sinabi ko kanina.
It's a
Yun
German
lang.
term.
Dr. Carlos, let me ask you, do we risk becoming a proxy battleground in a superpower conflict? But before you answer that, the spokes will take a short break. And the spokes is back, still with our baguettes professor, Clarita Carlos. So the hanging question is,
Ano yung question na
do we risk becoming a
Yung bagets
proxy,
na naalala.
do we risk becoming a proxy battleground in a superpower conflict?
From where I stand, less likely, again.
Kaya geographically, malapit ho tayo sa China.
Yeah, because you listen to what Xi Jinping, their chairman, is saying. We should have shared resources, shared future, shared prosperity. Laman na nila doon.
May apologies, ma'am. If they are in control, sasabihin nila yon. If they are not in control, they will exert their power. So at the end of the day, because the West Philippine Sea is ours, it's a question not just of ownership, but control. So,
Okay.
yun lang po yung
I'm
akin.
glad you used that word ownership. If we change the basic philosophy behind all this, there will be no rival claims. In all geographical contests, mainly because no one owns anything. Everything is the heritage of mankind. Therefore, that ownership should be changed to stewardship. Meaning you're protecting the ecology. Tignan mo yung change ng philosophy. Diba, Edwin? Mag-shift ka ng ganon. And that one, we really discussed it. I formed kasi an experts team when I was NSA. And doon talagang diniscuss namin, talagang hinanap namin ng kasaysayan ng notions ng sovereignty, territory,
Yes.
treaties of Westphalia, diba? The division of the world by the Pope.
What was the conclusion, ma'am?
The conclusion is that a radical change in everything that we do will really change if we change the philosophical grounding, which is from ownership to stewardship. Tignan mo, ibang-iba.
Where have you
mag-iiba.
brought that concept thus far? Has it been brought up to the president, the concept of stewardship?
Yeah, if at a later time when I'm gone, because I have archives in the University Library in the UP, you will see all my memos to
Huwag
the
natin
President.
hintayin yun, ma'am, habang kayo pa
Eh.
makapag-explain ito.
Hindi nga, one of my memos is that one.
Okay.
Dr.
Yeah,
Carlos, let me go domestic right now. This whole flood corruption scandal has created a huge outroar and furor amongst our people. Do you consider the flood corruption scandal as a national security issue?
It is. Mainly because it destroys lives, it destroys property,
It kills.
and the level of outrage is monumental. I'm sure you will agree with that. And therefore, the president doing something about it, I hope he should do more about it. It's really required, it's imperative.
This difference, yung differences po ni Pangulong Marcos at ni Vice President Sara, will definitely distract yung policy making ng gobyerno. And how will this impact on our long-term strategy, considering na their views of China are also quite different?
Yes. Because Dr. Carlos, remember in Duterte, we pivoted towards the China orbit. And now Marcos is now with the US orbit. So if it's a Sara, we go back to the China. And that's a concern, by the way, why, and this is a concern why they did not support the withdrawal of support for Sara, because the military thinks, babalik tayo sa China, huwag na lang.
Ang dami niyang sanga, no? I don't think if the numbers are stable, Sara Duterte is more likely to win.
If
Kasi the numbers are stable.
stable.
I mean, mainly because you can win by a vote of one,
One,
plurality.
yes, plurality.
Okay, like that. But I hope Sara Duterte, when she becomes president, will have a more nuanced foreign policy. And I've always supported this, and this is also one of my memos to Bongbong Marcos. Strategic autonomy means you're not choosing between these two hegemons, but you have a more nuanced foreign policy, which means that whichever one gives us, channels for selling our banana, pineapple, etc., economic diplomacy, we go there. No?
So
if India will do that, Russia, etc.
So you're saying, ma'am, when it comes to foreign policy, Pilipino muna.
Yes.
Filipino muna.
Unahin mo yung interest natin.
Interest ng bansa,
Yes.
interest ng ordinaryong Pilipino.
Let me go to the weeds on that point, because everybody has been saying all governments have always advocated an independent foreign policy. But we are not, unlike India, which is another superpower, they can really say, I will have an independent foreign policy. We are not a superpower. So, and our waters are being encroached by the Chinese. So we have nothing to go against. How does one really come up with an independent
that
foreign
word
policy?
independent is it's a bad word, you know, because you can't put flesh on it.
Exactly.
All the economies are meshed, isn't it? We have already globalized.
When you say nuanced foreign policy, so you're talking about economic diplomacy.
Refine it. Magbasa kayo,
But
no?
are you saying, ma'am, multilateral, bilateral arrangements should be the trajectory of this country based on our national
Precisely.
interest?
There is no, these are just modalities.
Yes,
You
po.
do bilateral or you do multilateral,
Lateral.
depending ano yung issue area.
Yes.
Kasi yung sinasabi nila na dapat multilateral, mali. Ano yung issue area? Kung issue area would be mas maganda bilateral, bilateral tayo. You're dealing with the EU, multilateral yun. Kasi ASEAN, EU, black to black, di ba?
At wag mong itaya lahat sa isang basket ang foreign policy mo.
Yeah, wag
Wag
isa
lang-
lang ang trajectory mo,
Yes.
dapat marami. Kaya nga,
Marami.
yung spokes, di ba? Alam mo, tinitingnan ko kasi kung ano yung metaphor niya. Kanina nakaupo ako doon. Sabi ko, ano kaya ang ibig
Bali
sabihin?
po
ng
yung isang spokes.
Metaphorical.
Hindi
Yung
ho
pala
dahil sa
si
akin,
spokesperson
tinanggal yung
pala.
isang spokes dito. Hinabol po ng Nani Braganza Investigation Services sa labas. Yes po, so multilateral, bilateral, ano. Kahit dito po sa sa defense strategy ata ng Pilipinas ngayon, although yung Amerika ang nakaposisyon dito physically sa Pilipinas, we also have agreements or bilateral agreements with Japan, with Australia. At ito po ata yung bumubuo ng yung freedom of navigation. Di ba? To protect naman international trade
Yeah, it's
within that
traditional
area.
international law. Yeah.
Dr. Carlos, you mentioned a while ago about the Trump's national defense strategy, and part of the
Yes.
strategy is requiring their global partners to take up more responsibilities in their own defense.
Yes.
And that includes the Philippines. And do you think we're able to
I like that.
bear our own defense?
I like that. In fact, nung hindi pa siya presidente, di ba, January 22 ata siya na gano'n. He already articulated that in several settings. And although some people really did not like the notion of sphere of influence,
Right.
I think that's the real politic right now on the ground. What he actually did was that, Vladimir Putin, bahala ka dyan sa Ukraine. At dito ako sa Western Hemisphere. In-expand niya yung Monroe Doctrine, di ba? And in a way, although hindi niya sinasabi na China dyan ka sa area of responsibility mo, that is what I want China to respond to benevolently. Total, parang binigyan ka ng carte blanche ni Trump, no? Kasi siya ngayon ng, orchestra, leader, no? Gawin mo yung magandang gawin mo, dapat.
His recent po, balik ito po, in terms of defense, he's demanding from yung NATO countries to increase your budget spending.
Oh, wala
From
namang
2%
masama doon.
well, I do agree with you kasi dependent nga naman sa US.
Yeah.
Then on the matter of tariff is another issue. Kaya lang po ang problema
Kasi
ko,
hindi naman siya nagbabasa, kanya yung tariff na lang ang alam niya. You know, when you do not trade, tapos ayaw mo magkalkal ng kasaysayan,
yes, sir.
mamamali ka talaga.
Isn't that dangerous?
It is
Kasi
dangerous.
A potential conflict between the US and China, again, might put us in a situation na obligado tayong either makiisa, sumama sa isa, versus sa kabila. Which technically is not our fight.
Kanya nga, i-design nating mabuti ang ating national strategy. At ang National Defense Strategy, na anak ng National Strategy, kasi yun ang mother document.
So ano ang national defense strategy natin dapat?
Siguro sa NSA ngayon ang tanongin ninyo.
Ito, this is a probably
Si
easier.
Anyo ho ba
Hindi.
yan? Si Anyo?
Yeah, Secretary Anyo. Pero siguro dahil nga sa mga commitments ni President Bongbong, nakaangkla tayo ngayon sa mga sinasabi ni Trump. Basahin mo yung kanyang national security strategy, NSS, at yung kay Hegseth na National Defense Strategy. Hinimay namin kagabi yan dun sa research team ko. Tawa kami ng tawa kasi yung si Hegseth parang, ay wag na lang, bad word. Okay na lang.
Ma'am, in terms of strategy, let's go local. You mentioned this already. How do you promote local tourism considering na ang tataas ng pamasahe, di ba, cost of hotel rooms in the Philippines? In fact, sabi nga ho nila, it's cheaper to go to
Vietnam,
Thailand, Taiwan,
Than to
Hong Kong,
Batanes.
than going to Batanes. So what's your...
Yeah.
If
Kasi,
you were still the national security advisor,
Yeah.
ano po i-recommenda nyo?
Okay. si Cristina Frasco.
Ay, hindi niyo pinapatanggal?
Oo, naging friend ko siya sa cabinet. Actually,
Ay, okay.
yung mga na-meet ko lang nung nasa cabinet ako.
Yes,
si Sara Duterte, katabi ko, hindi ko naman siya kilala, na-meet ko siya doon. And Cristina is one of the most hardworking persons that I know. No? So alam ko yan from yung mga report niya. Pero siya, ay hostage siya sa mga ibang bagay na wala siyang authority over. Hindi nangingialam sa kanya si Bonoan. Ano nga ba si Bonoan? DPWH. Yung DOTR, hindi niya pinapakialaman. May isipin mo, nagpunta ka na ba sa Boracay? Ilan yung sasakyan mo bago ka makarating doon? Tapos, ilan yung mga manlulokong mga tricycle drivers doon. Kami naloko nga doon, nagbayad kami 35 pesos. Yung pala, Edwin, umikot lang doon sa isang kanto na pwede naman akong maglakad. Yung
Sana ma'am, winace nyo.
It's a waste of time.
It's a waste of time. Oy,
sa katangahan ko nga, siyempre nagbayad din ako. So, ang dami na. When you want to sell tourism in the country, we have so much really to sell, no? Yung, wag na lang tayo mag-denigrate ng ibang ng sites. I mean, yung the sweetest mangoes, in Guimaras.
But how is it connected to national security, ma'am?
Well, because it's connected to job creation.
Job opportunities.
Oh, yes, job opportunities. It's connected to a NOMI, which happens when you graduate, inaasahan mo yung anak mo, aalis na sa bahay mo at magtatatag ng sarili niyang kabuhayan. Yung pala, andyan pa, pinapalamon mo pa siya. No? So, ang dami mga social, how they call it, downstream effects nun. It's a national security issue, di ba? And so, this is not a defense of Cristina, but it is a defense of Cristina because there are so many headwinds na balakid niya.
Ma'am, when you were in the cabinet, nag-exist pa ba yung cluster meetings of different agencies working together to clarify policies, define programs?
Yeah, yung sa
and
security
projects?
cluster, I was part of that.
Cluster.
Oo nga, meron
Security
nga sila
cluster. Yeah, may
Kasi
security cluster.
may mga panahon kasi na hindi ginagamit yun eh. So walang convergence among different
Depende
agencies.
kasi sa president eh.
Araw-araw may nakukuha akong classified na memo sa NSA.
Yeah.
Classified?
Oo, classified. Super
Yeah, kasi ang work
confidential.
Calling on the NBI, someone just admitted a criminal offense.
Ganon.
Classified eh.
He's a liar.
Kung declassified
He doesn't
sana,
know the
okay
law.
lang eh. Classified.
He knows a lie, not the law.
Yeah, but people little realize that every day, ganyang kataas ang intel na nakukuha ko.
Yes.
Minsan inaabot ako ng 2:00 ng umaga reading
Just
through
to
them
go through
because kailangan basahin mo yon. Kasi pag may nakita ka doon, merong isang Chinese na nakaangkor sa Oriental Mindoro, nakaangkor siya, gagawa ka agad ng memo sa president. People later realize na sabi ko, paano ko magagawa? Nakadapa ako sa 7 task force, no? Hindi ba?
Nani, tanongin mo yung close to your heart itong tough question natin.
Gusto kong itagalog eh.
Tagalogin mo.
Ito, kung binili ng China yung ating karangalan, para ang kapalit nito, pabayaan natin silang gumalaw lang sa West Philippine Sea. How would you look at that? Ibig sabihin, they'll invest more. Probably bribe some officials to soften.
Hindi kasi acceptable sa akin yung first clause mo eh.
Alin ma'am? Bilhin yung ating
binili.
karangalan?
Yeah.
Then let's say they pour massive investments in the
For
Philippines.
massive investments.
Why not?
But
we should be smart, intelligent about it.
No, but in
exchange,
Oo.
papabayaan natin silang gumalaw sa West Philippine Sea.
Nasa sa atin na yun, sa katangahan natin. Okay, people say, nangutang-ngutang ka, tapos it's a death trap. Katangahan mo na yun, ba't hindi mo binasa yung, anong tawag nere, yung
Yung mga,
fine lines?
fine lines.
Why do we always do that? Don't we realize that nothing happens in this country without the cooperation and collusion of the local and national executives? Hindi ba? Nothing will happen to yung kinakalkal nila na, anong pangalan doon, yung Black Sun?
Black Sun.
If the LGU does not allow it, hindi ba? Authority mo yun eh.
Ma'am, nilabanan ko yun sa Pangasinan when I was mayor. And we were successful.
Yes, tingnan
At
mo.
that time.
Yes.
At hindi ko pa area yun.
Kanya nga when people cry, wolf na ganitong ginagawa ng China, may gago ka, ba't mo inaalaw yun? Di ba? I mean,
Beep, beep.
para na, ay sorry.
Beep, beep, small jeep.
Mamaneo ako sa Cubao.
Beep, beep, small jeep. Ma'am, kahit 3 mamaya gawin natin dyan.
Hindi kasi nakakayamot, di ba? Why you keep on, this is not a beef for China, by the way. You know, people who label me pro-China, I look for the deepest lake and drown
Ma'am,
yourself.
ito lang. The trajectory we're going through kasi is, ang tingin, kalaban ng China, kakampi ang US. What if the US demands more sa Pilipinas na maglagay tayo ng not only defensive weapons, but offensive weapons
In exchange for security guarantees.
in exchange for security guarantees?
Katangahan na natin yun. Basahin nga natin yung NSS at saka NDS ni Trump, di ba? No, it's really, I mean, it's really our stupidity if we go along with that proposal. I mean, listen to Enrile, huh? You know, I've been interviewing Enrile when he was Minister of Defense in the 70s, no? And he was saying, ma'am, pag nagpunta, kaya si Enrile very pupunta siya sa Amerika,
Very
meron
anti
siyang
po, anti-
US.
oh,
Meron siyang
that I
listahan,
didn't
ano?
know.
Yeah, no, he has articulated it many times in many
okay,
venues. Meron
Hindi
siyang
kasi
listahan.
nakikinig eh.
Ma'am, ang
Kung
kodigo ko yan.
Oo nga, kodigo mo to. Binapakita ko lang to. Okay, anong punta niya? Pagpunta niya sa Washington DC, sasabihin sa kanya, punta ka sa Hawaii. Wing to wing makikita mo yung mga eroplano doon na worth na lang $1. Alam mo yun yung sa auditing, di ba, $1? Papipilian si Enrile doon. So, yung loss of face, yung para siyang aliping sa gigilid, you know, alam ni Enrile yan. And he has many times, ang dami kong beses na ini-interview siya eh. Oh.
Sorry,
So,
When Trump raised the tariffs, pumunta po si Pangulong Bongbong doon. We will impose a tariff of 20%.
19.
No, 30
Ano yun
something.
hindi ko alam, nag-move
Tapos, when he came back, binawasan tayo ng 1%. But the other countries from Asia, hindi pumunta doon, cut to half. So what does that say of our relationship with the US? Considering that we're very loyal to them, we're very accommodating, and yet economically, parang binabatok-batukan lang ho tayo. I will not use your words, ma'am.
Yeah, it's a canard to use the word special relations. I'm sorry about the use of my terms, no? Because
Hindi po, ma'am.
I'm a scientist and I use the precise terms, you know.
Ma'am, you're tolerated. Bagets nga ho kayo.
No, political correctness can go hang. Okay?
Okay.
I mean, why do we use euphemisms? Kaya tayo nagkakagulo kasi pinapaarte-arte natin yung salita natin. Tell it straight, no?
Totoo. Tell it
Diba?
Dr. Carlos, let me ask you a tough question here. I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong here, that you were recommended by former Speaker Martin Romualdez to recommend you highly to head NSA. How do you feel?
That's not true.
That's not true.
No.
Okay. So,
Well, I knew Martin because we were together in Cornell University in 1983. That was my first Fulbright. I was doing my first postdoc. And Martin was doing his BA in political science. And fast forward, it was the president who, there's a story, I'm sure there's nothing national security about it. Ang unang nagtawag sa akin sinong pangalan nere, yung ES na una? Vic Rodriguez.
okay.
Sabi niya, Ma'am, you're the first appointees, one of the first appointees of the president. Umaga yun eh, parang the day after the election. Sabi ko, ano? Siyempre, natuwa ako. Sabi ko, hindi ko naman kilala si president.
Ma'am, did you apply, no?
I never apply, excuse me.
Tinawagan nga siya eh. Nag-apply.
Alam mo kasi nag-apply tapos sinawagan.
Alam mo, parang teacher to, hindi ka nakikinig eh.
I never apply for any position.
Ma'am, my congratulations to you. Kasi ang dami
Not that it matters, but that yun ang fact.
it
That's
matters
a fact.
because maraming nag-a-apply, nagbabayad pa.
Wala akong salapi unang-una. Okay, tuloy natin yung story. At so sabi ni Vic, sabi ko, ano yung position? Sabi niya, chairman ng CHED. Sabi ko, ba't naman ako maging chairman ng CHED? Pinapa-abolish ko nga yan. Kasi, ang DepEd kasi, yes, yun ang unang in-appoint sa akin. Ay, kasi yung, di ba, ang DepEd, yan integrated eh.
Right.
No? Kasi educator ako. Dapat, pag grade 10 ka na 11, pupunta ka either sa VOCTEC or pupunta ka sa university.
Yes.
Ganyan ang hanay ng ating The trifocalization is a very, very bad decision of EDCOM 1. But let's not go there. Okay. So sabi ko, nako Vic, sabihin mo kay Presidente na pinapa-abolish ko yan. Di tumawad din si Vic, tawad din ako. Sabi ko, but if the President wants to appoint me, please inform him ang area of expertise ko, foreign policy and national security.
Okay.
Yun nga,
Totoo naman po yun. Totoo
yun naman
po
talaga.
Yeah.
Ayoko kasi nanidapaan yung wala akong alam. Diba? Ayoko dapaan yung wala akong alam. Kanya nga kayo nung nag-imbita kayo dito and you were asking me to be sabi ko, siguro galing sa tourism ang tanungin mo, hindi ako. Sabi ko,
Sino
I'm
nag-imbita
willing.
sa inyo, ma'am, dito? At
Ano,
mali-mali
malay ko kung ano ba-
ang imbitasyon sa inyo.
Si Justice Braganza.
No, kasi ayaw ko magpunta rito na na magwiwido lang ako. I'm here as part of yung, di ba, political education naman yung point ng inyong program, di
Totoo
ba?
naman po. Ako po
that's
education, siya ho propaganda.
Huwag niyo ako isali niya sa propaganda.
Ma'am, you're part of the education team.
Yeah. I'm an educator
Kala mo
through
hindi
and
ko babawi sa'yo, ha?
This guy says a lot of bull. Beep, beep.
Ma'am, mamaya gaganon tayo bago mag-closing, ha? Game! Patugtog nyo, ha? Gaganon kami.
Anyway,
Well, ma'am, sorry. Tapos
Saya
na po yung
nyo, no?
oras. Ma'am? Ma'am, kung di ka masaya rito, tatanda ka. Sa grabe ng topic, alas 8 ng umaga.
Oh
Tapos
my God, 1
mukha
hour na ba yun?
kang namatayan dito.
si
Mahirap
Eileen,
to.
ayan, natututo sa gabi, araw-araw natututo
nga
yan.
po.
So,
Ma'am, sorry. Tapos na po yung oras
Teka.
talaga. We want a
Well, sa susunod,
part
magsasaya ko kasi ginagawa mong isi-insult ko, no?
endorser po siya ng ano.
Ma'am, you look great, by the way.
Thank you,
Sabi nga,
wait till you're 80 years old.
That's a hot seat. Hey, that's a hot seat and you're hot. Okay, ha?
Salamat, ha?
Anyway, ma'am, tapos na oras. Ako ba nagsasabi ng totoo? Ito, bolero ho ito. So, thank you, Professor Clarita Carlos.
In a world of shifting alliances, national security is not just about who we side with, but whether we can stand on our own.
Because in a democracy, security and governance must always face scrutiny.
I'm former Secretary Edwin Lacierda,
Nandi ang salud Braganza po.
and we are
The Spoke.